I was basically dismissed within 2 minutes. As soon as they saw I had a bullseye rash, they threw antibiotics at me and basically told me to get out of their office. I mean, all they really did was leave me with more questions than when I arrived. Okay, so I had the answer. I had Lyme disease. What does that mean, right? There's a huge list of symptoms that go along with it. How do I fix it? Are antibiotics enough? Are the antibiotics dangerous if I take them long term? They didn't tell me anything. So my journey started feeling alone and in the dark. I didn't understand what was going on at all. Then I started going to different practitioners. I went to a natural practitioner. I went to a regular practitioner. They sent me to a specialty doctor that was a cardiology specialist. And I basically got passed around the medical system to dozens of different doctors, wasting a lot of time and money and energy just trying to figure out what I should do and how I should go about getting better as quickly as possible because my heart was not doing well. See, if you leave Lyme disease left unchecked, you can have heart problems. And unfortunately for some people, that can lead to death. If your heart isn't working correctly, it's a huge issue. And the medical professionals that do their best get very concerned if there's problems with your heart. But I wish that concern was just used to answer more of my questions and make me feel more at ease instead of just passing me around the medical system and taking more and more of my time and energy. And this is just the beginning. This is just my story. I've heard dozens of other stories that are even worse, like people getting misdiagnosis or told they're crazy or completely dismissed and told to leave. This is a problem. It's frustrating for the people who have Lyme disease, and it's extremely common that they're not treated well and they stop trusting the medical industry after going through something like Lyme disease. In this video, we're going to talk about why doctors miss Lyme disease, what's wrong with the treatments, and how to advocate for yourself so you can show up in the best possible light and get the results that you need throughout the process. So why do doctors miss Lyme disease diagnoses? First of all, there's notoriously inaccurate testing between the ELISA test, the Western blot test. They just tend to have false negatives, and they're pretty common, where it's basically a flip of the coin to see if you have Lyme disease or not, with a failure rate of upwards of 40%. It just doesn't make sense. Secondly, a lot of doctors are working on an outdated criteria. They're only focusing on tick bites and on bullseye rashes when there's so much more to the picture now that we know more about Lyme. The third thing is there's a lack of Lyme disease education and training in med school. These doctors are simply not taught enough about Lyme disease and the effects that it has on the human body. And finally, Lyme disease itself mimics other diseases. It's known as the great imitator because it could be pretty much anything. It's got all types of different symptoms that all cross-relate, and maybe or maybe not, Lyme disease is the root cause of those symptoms, right? These symptoms are not a disease. They are a grouping of symptoms put together that could be caused by multiple different factors, all intertwining. Our body is very complex, and that's why we need to use a holistic approach in such a complex system so that we're treating the whole system instead of just single parts of that system. And that's when we start to see what's wrong with the regular medical approach. First of all, they give you short-term antibiotics and leave you with a "you're cured" type message. They're saying if you take this, all your problems will go away. And more often than not, that's simply not true. A second huge problem that we see is doctors denying that chronic Lyme disease even exists at all. They say it's not a real thing, or they call it PTLDS, post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome, meaning your symptoms lasted longer than the antibiotics. If they're not willing to admit you're sick, then they're not willing to help you. Huge problem is the microbes themselves. I mean, they know how to persist. They know how to avoid and survive antibiotic attacks. They know how to create biofilms to stay alive longer. They know how to cloak their DNA. These organisms are absolutely fascinating. The more I look into them, the more I learn that these are not regular microbes. These are very, very interesting. And they pose a host of different challenges than a normal bacteria or virus would. And then there's the Lyme literate doctors, or LLMDs. These are doctors that know specifically about Lyme disease, and they know how to treat Lyme disease aggressively. They have a sort of an aggressive approach towards treating Lyme disease, and they're simply more expensive, harder to get a hold of, harder to get time with. They can be really hard to access or afford because their calendar is always full of people trying to get better. The supply is low and the demand is high enough that it's difficult to get on an LLMD schedule to begin with. Another thing to realize is that LLMDs can use different approaches. Some of them use a fully conventional approach where they use long-term antibiotics or IV antibiotics. I'm completely against that approach for myself, but other ones use natural approaches, and still others use natural and conventional approaches mixed together. So you've got to find one that actually works the way that you want to work on the problem and can support you in your journey. And they're unfortunately pretty tricky to find. This makes it feel like you have to go to the regular medical system, but you have to advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself. So how exactly do you do that? Well, first of all, keep a symptom journal. We talk about this all the time, but remember to write down how you're feeling each and every day, how your symptoms are. You could even rate them from 1 to 10 on how bad they are, but try to keep track of your symptoms and how you're feeling so that you can look back at your journal, you can see the actual progress, and you can feel the progress as you go through the process because you're reflecting every day on how you actually feel. You could also show this to a doctor and explain to them the different challenges you're having, and it can help you get the treatment that you need. Number 2 is seek out a Lyme literate doctor. If you go to the ILADS website, ILADS.org, I believe is the website, but just search for ILADS. You'll see there's a directory there that has all the LLMDs, so you can find one in your area and make sure that you work with them closely. Number 3, you can request better testing from your doctors. You don't have to accept their run-of-the-mill regular standard tests like the ELISA or the Western blot. You can say, I want to go to IGeneX. I want to go to a specialized lab that can tell me whether or not I actually have tick-borne diseases, Lyme disease, co-infections, and all of the other species of Lyme disease that exist. IGeneX has been doing this for over a decade, and they're the clear front runner in Lyme disease testing, and they can help you out. Tell your doctor about IGeneX if you want to get a specialty lab test done so you know for sure what you're dealing with. Now, I don't know if it'll be covered by insurance or if the doctor will be okay with you going to IGeneX, but it's worth a try. It's worth a shot. Share that information with your doctor, especially if they're not an LLMD, because there's a good chance they don't even know it exists. The next thing you could do to advocate for yourself is to understand the co-infections that exist with Lyme disease. One way to do that is to subscribe here on this channel because we're posting videos all the time, sharing as much as we can about Lyme disease and co-infections. And we talk specifically about the co-infections that come with Lyme disease, most often Babesia, Bartonella, and Ehrlichia, but there's many more that can come with Lyme disease and that make it really harder for your body to heal because you've got to address all of those co-infections along the way. The next thing you could do is don't accept dismissal. If they try to dismiss you or say you're crazy or say we're not working with you, seek second opinions, third opinions. It's completely normal to seek a second opinion these days, and it's highly recommended, especially if a doctor is saying you need long-term antibiotics, you need IV antibiotics when it comes to Lyme disease, or if it's something more serious, if they're saying you need a surgery, go get a second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion before pulling the trigger on something serious that can change your life forever. And finally, to advocate for yourself, find a community or a network that you can tap into that has your back, that can share what they're doing, what's working, what's not working, what doctors they go to, what other people have helped them so far. Tap into those communities. I know they exist on Facebook. There's some on YouTube. We've got communities all over the internet that can help you get better, especially if you need to network with people that are like you and like-minded. If you want to heal from Lyme disease naturally, go to lymewars.com. We can get you tapped into a network of folks that really care about healing their body naturally and want to take the all-natural route for Lyme disease, and we want to help you as well. So you can reach out to me directly. I answer a lot of my emails still. I do my best to. Sometimes it might take a couple days to get to you, but I promise I am here for you. If you ever need anything or have any questions, just email help@LymeDiseaseWars.com. We're here to help, and we're happy to help. So finally, I want to reaffirm, you're not crazy and you're not alone in this, okay? You know your body better than anybody else. Do not let a doctor tell you that you're a fool or that you're crazy or that you don't know what you're talking about. Continue to seek a second and third opinion until you have nailed down the help that you need to get better from Lyme disease. The longer you stay on the path and the more persistent you stay, the higher your chances of getting better. So do me a favor, share your Lyme disease story in the comments below. This helps the community know that they're not alone. You never know who's going to read your comment, and it can absolutely change someone's life because you commented your story and it resonates so close to them. It relates to their story so much that they take a different action and get better because of you. To me, that's what Lyme Disease Awareness Month is all about, and that is May. If you're watching this a different month, you can ignore this part, but all I'm saying is it's Lyme Disease Awareness Month, so let's make some noise, let's get some awareness, let's tell our story. And if you want more help on your path so that you can get better from Lyme disease, check out this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you there.